What's up guys, it's Salvajee and here's my Destiny 2 2-month in review. When Destiny 2 first came out, I told you guys that I was going to wait 2 months to review Destiny 2 because I wanted to test out the game's longevity as well as of course the endgame. And let's face it, every time new Destiny content drop, whether it's a new game or an expansion, people are just in this honeymoon phase and they think the content is going to last months and months and months, when the reality is of course that isn't the case at all. I definitely have to say that Destiny 2 took 5 steps forward, but on top of all that, it also took 3 steps back. Now, with that said, is Destiny 2 as bad as other people make it out to be? No. If you've never played a Destiny game in your life, Destiny 2 is the perfect introduction into the Destiny universe, and I definitely have to say that it's definitely worth your money. You are going to be getting the bang for your buck, whether you're looking to getting into this game as a hardcore player, medium to hardcore player, or especially just as a casual player. With that said, I want to drop a major statement before I get into my Destiny 2 review. And of course, I want you guys to keep this in mind as you are listening to this review. Everything I say in this video is opinion based. I'm going to be telling you guys what I like as well as what I dislike about Destiny 2. And keep in mind, these are things that I like and I dislike. I like big booties, okay? But some of you guys might like big boobies. So again, just keep in mind, everything I say in this video is opinion based. Everything I say in this video is just my opinion on what I like and dislike about the game. Again, if you don't want to hear my opinions, if you don't want to hear what I dislike about the game, you should probably leave the video right now. You have been warned. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I want to talk about most of the things that I like about Destiny 2. You know, some of the things that make Destiny 2 actually Destiny 2. The story, I believe, was actually pretty good. It wasn't as great. There are a couple of things that I didn't like about the story. Of course, I'll get into that later. But the story was actually pretty good. It was pretty lengthy. It wasn't too long, but it wasn't too short as well. I felt like the pace of the story was actually pretty good. And honestly, that's something that I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about. You know, usually when people talk about the story, they talk about the fact that your guardian can't talk, or, you know, the fact that Gaul wasn't like too intimidating. But yeah, I really like the length of the story, and of course I'll talk about some of the things that I disliked about the story later on in the video. The visuals in Destiny 2 are of course great, and another thing that I like about Destiny 2, by the way, which again I haven't really seen a lot of people point this out, but the supers in Destiny 2, in my opinion, feel way more satisfying than they did in Destiny 1. Okay, in Destiny 2, the Warlock, for example, we have Stormcaller, we have Voidwalker, and of course we also have the Dawnblade. In Destiny 2, you know, the Warlock had of course Stormcaller and Voidwalker, and guess what? Self-Resurrect, right? Because not a lot of people actually use Radiance as an actual super. They just used it for Self-Resurrect, and I sort of feel like Bungie in Destiny 2 kind of like got rid of that, and every single super actually has its use when it comes down to, of course, dealing with ads, doing some massive amounts of damage. I'm pretty sure Luke Smith actually said this, but he said that in Destiny 2 people want, and you know, they want people to use their supers like in an offensive type way. You know, they don't want people to, of course, save their supers for that, of course, you know, specific moments. Another thing that I liked about Destiny 2 is, of course, the new designs on the bad guys. The Fallen, of course, got a quote-unquote reskin. We got, of course, some new Cabal enemies. The Cabal in the raid, of course, have like their own look to them. I really like that. You know, guys, sometimes the small details make a really big difference, okay? For example, an example of a small detail might be all of the time that Bungie put into their game so the game doesn't have a lot of bugs. Guess what? There's no one really talking about that. Throughout my time playing Destiny 2, I haven't really encountered any actually, you know, any actual game-breaking bugs or none of that stuff. In fact, I probably haven't encountered any bugs or any glitches at all whatsoever, except of course for the Callus glitch, and that glitch where a fallen ship goes like underground and it might take you like really deep in the air. But honestly, I'm really glad that of course this game doesn't really have any game-breaking bugs. Something that I know a lot of you guys, or some of you guys, are going to disagree with is the PvP aspect of things. I think PvP in Destiny 2 is great. I love it, okay? I'm going to make a separate video on this, but quite honestly, I like that Destiny 2 PvP, it's more team-based and it's more team-focused now. Sure, the team fire aspect can be annoying at times, but quite honestly, I like it because I'm actually good at PvP, currently with a 1.96 KD or something like that. Anyways, I didn't like Destiny 1 PvP because it was all about, you know, being a one-man army. You know, people that had the shotgun or were good at the sniper were always dominating. But now in Destiny 2, you can't be a one-man army. And again, that's something that I really like about Destiny 2 PvP. Whether you like it or not, I'm pretty sure 4v4 is here to stay, and no matter how many times we complain talking about it, 6v6 won't be coming back anytime soon, specifically since of course the maps are not really designed for a 6v6 environment. The strikes in the game are of course very enjoyable, with of course some strikes here and there that I don't really enjoy that much. Sabathurn's song is a strike that I don't really like because I feel like the final boss is kind of like a bullet sponge, and you know, there aren't really a lot of mechanics to the boss, just basically shoot and put a relic, you know, eventually at it. I feel like of course the strikes this time around are a little bit harder and a little bit longer. I do kind of like that, you know, I don't want a strike to be an activity where I just like basically just jump right into it. One of the things about strikes in Destiny 1 was that sometimes you could just skip past enemies, but yeah, in Destiny 2 not a lot of strikes have that mechanic, and on some fights you do have to take out some bosses or do something in specific to of course move on forward to the next area. Again, that's just a small little detail that some people might, you know, not really appreciate about Destiny 2. And like I said guys, sometimes the small details are what of course makes the game pretty great. Can you guys imagine if every single strike you could just run past enemies? They wouldn't really be as satisfying, and of course they wouldn't really be as challenging. Another thing that I like about Destiny 2 is the fast traveling system. You can basically just fast travel basically anywhere on the planet. That is something that I'm very happy about. Again, it's just the small things that make the game more enjoyable. The fact that you can of course go from Earth to Nessus without actually having to go back to orbit, it's of course amazing. It's just a quality of life change that of course makes the game even better. Another thing that I really like about Destiny 2 is the milestones. The milestones are great. Basically now I don't have to say, oh, you know, did I already do this for my Titan? Do I have to go to this website to see what I did this week? Basically the milestones tell me what I need to do each and every single week. And again, I'm really glad that they have that list. On top of all that, the milestones aren't something that are extremely grindy. Yes, they are going to take you some time, but if you have 3 characters, you should be able to at least, you know, complete all of your milestones of course every single week, considering that of course you do get a pretty good team from LFG when it comes down to the raid, and of course considering that you get a good team when it comes down to the Nightfall. I like that the Nightfalls are more challenging in Destiny 2, but honestly I don't really like the fact that they are timed Nightfalls, just for the simple fact that if you're at the final boss and the final boss has 10% of health, you're basically just taken back to orbit, which is of course something that they removed from Destiny 1. But again, I'll get into that when I start talking about the things that I dislike about Destiny 2. The raid. Let me just talk about the raid. I really like the raid in Destiny 2. Quite honestly, in my opinion, I think it's a pretty good raid. I mean, let's face it, the previous raids that we've had is just boss and boss and boss, you know, with a couple of mechanics, with a couple of ads here and there. I feel like Destiny, I feel like Bungie this time around was like, hey, you know what, let's try something different. Instead of just putting boss and boss and boss, let's just, you know, do encounters. Let's just do things that of course require a lot of mechanics, and if a teammate fucks up, well, you know, they're going to be punished. I really like the raid, and if you're saying that the raid is easy, it's because you just haven't really raided with a lot of teams from of course Destiny LFG. A lot of Destiny elites say, hey look, the raid is easy. Yeah dude, you just have a team full of PvE savages. Sometimes I can just of course steamroll throughout the entire raid up to Kalas, but sometimes it actually takes me a while on some of the encounters, okay, because people of course, you know, mess up, some people are lost. You have to get used to everybody's strategies. Again, the raid is very challenging, but it's not extremely punishing, and in my opinion the raid isn't boring either, okay. It's something that's enjoyable. Every encounter of course, you know, is an enjoyable encounter, and on top of all that, I also like that in the Prestige raid you can actually revive people, because if in the Prestige raid, like once you died, like you just not come back, that would have actually been pretty broken, honestly. Anyways, now that we got that out of the way, I want to talk about some of the things that I actually dislike. Well, not some, basically all of the things that I dislike about Destiny 2, and I just have to say that there are a couple of things that I of course dislike about Destiny 2. But I still have to say guys that I still think this game is enjoyable, okay? The things that I enjoy about the game, you know, kind of outweigh the things that I dislike about the game. But of course, I do want to see a lot of improvements in Destiny 2's future. But anyways, at the end of the day, Bungie always delivers, and Bungie of course always improves the game as time passes. So of course, it's more enjoyable for the player. Anyways, with that said, like I said, let's get right into the things that I dislike about Destiny 2. So yeah, a while ago I mentioned Time Nightfalls and the fact that I didn't like them. Quite honestly, Time Nightfalls are not a problem for me at all whatsoever. It makes the Nightfalls challenging, but one of the things that the Time Nightfalls should do is that when you run out of time, you simply just don't get your reward from Zavala, but of course you can get the reward from the Nightfall. Or you get your reward from Zavala, but you don't get anything from the Nightfall. In Destiny 1 at the beginning, if you were to die, it would of course send you back to orbit, okay? And in the Time Nightfalls, they're basically sending you back to orbit because of course you weren't able to, do the objectives enough, or because of course you died a couple of times. Again, it's something that I dislike about Destiny 2. I know some people like it, I know some people are in the middle. Honestly, like I said, I'm just in the middle. When I like right now I'm reviewing Destiny 2 and I'm keeping every single player's perspective in mind. The casual players, the medium to hardcore players, in other words players like me, and of course the hardcore players, because at the end of the day Destiny 2 cannot survive with the hardcore players only. Destiny 2 needs casual players, Destiny 2 needs medium to hardcore players, okay? But yeah, Time Nightfalls, I don't really like them because it's basically the same Destiny 1 mechanic that of course would take you back to orbit, that of course Bungie changed eventually. So yeah, I wouldn't really be too surprised if when Season 2 comes around that Bungie actually takes out the Time Nightfalls and they add sort of like another thingy that is going to make the Nightfall of course more challenging. Anyways, let's continue with some of the things that I don't like about Destiny 2 when it comes down to the story. So let's face it, we all played the Destiny 2 story and we asked ourselves the same two questions. First of all, why is it that my character doesn't talk? And second of all, why can't I just go to the Shard of the Traveler or whatever and give Cade, Zavala, and all of these other Guardians their light back? Yeah, it chose us or whatever, but why can't they get their light back? Like, you're telling me that I am so special that the Traveler chose me, but the Vanguard, the Vanguard people, like, they're not worthy of the light even though they are literally the face of all of the Guardians. Like, again guys, if you see my story stream for Destiny 2 throughout the entire campaign almost, I was just saying things like, hey, wait, Cade, why don't we go get your light back? Oh, why isn't that Zavala can get his light back? Oh, we have a lot of Guardians, let's help them get their light back. Nope, none of that. They don't even mention none of that. And again, it was just like a frustration of mine, like, dude, why can't these people get their light back? That's something that I didn't like about the campaign, but there's two major things that I heavily disliked about Destiny 2's campaign. The first thing is, Destiny is all about your character. Become legend. New legends will rise. You're going to be a legend. You're the best. You're the main character. You're the special little snowflake that everyone looks up to, and you're gonna save the world all by yourself because guess what? You're a broken character. But guess what? You don't talk. So instead of me talking, I have to hear my annoying ghost talk. So I didn't really like that, of course, my character didn't speak. I don't want to go super in-depth into it, but again, my character should be able to talk. You know who shouldn't talk all the freaking time? The Ghost. One of the things that I disliked about Destiny 2 the most is the Ghost and its cheesy, stupid voice lines. Literally every time that I hear the Ghost say something stupid, I just want to punch myself in the face or bang my head against the wall because I feel like I sort of lost a couple of IQ levels just by listening to my Ghost talk. I mean, I know that doesn't make any sense, guys, but I just cannot stand the Ghost. Like, why can't Failsafe be my partner? Okay, why can't Devrim K be my partner? Like, the Ghost, I don't want it. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't want to drop a huge Ghost rant, but in my opinion, I think the Ghost is just, he's not necessary. Alright, and if he's necessary, then please just stop giving him cheesy dialogue. Like, sometimes I think about Nolan North and I visualize him in the recording studio saying to himself, wow, I really have to say this cheesy shit that doesn't make any sense and isn't funny at all whatsoever. Wow, my job must fucking suck. But hey, at least I'm getting paid for it. Like, I just could not stand the Ghost. I'm sorry, guys. I sort of went on a rant, but I just have to put that out there. Instead of putting in money to, for the Ghost to say more voice lines, why don't we put in money so that, of course, my Guardian can talk? Like, I'm the boss. I'm the one with the big dick. I'm the one that saved the city single-handedly. I'm the one that defeated Gaul, and you're telling me that I can't talk, but this annoying piece of shit is going to continuously say dumb shit throughout my entire journey? Unacceptable. Alright, again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't like the Ghost, and I'm going to stop talking about it now before I, of course, throw another temper tantrum about why I don't like the Ghost. Okay? Alright. Another thing that I didn't like about Destiny 2's campaign, guys, is Gol. Okay, you know, the trailers made him, you know, to look like this crazy badass. I thought the raid was gonna have him. And if you guys look at my Destiny 2 story stream finale, I'm about to fight Gol, right? And I'm like, oh my god, he's probably gonna look super badass. He's gonna have like a new suit. He's probably gonna have like a ton of weapons. He's gonna be super beast. And guess what Gol has? He has a sidearm and a fucking backpack. Are you kidding me right now, Bungie? Like, you make Gol look like a badass, and he just has a backpack? Seriously? We're talking about the people that made Halo, and they give the bad guy, the main villain, a backpack at the end? What? That's probably one of the things that I hated the most about the Destiny 2 story. The fact that Gol gets a damn backpack and isn't intimidating at all whatsoever. Now, another thing that I didn't like about Gol throughout the story, and you know, this is just some criticism, you know, I hope that this doesn't happen in the future, but throughout the entire story, you know, again, the trailers made Gol look like this super bad guy, but at the end of the day, Gol didn't even have a strong presence throughout the entire campaign. I was about to destroy his big solar weapon, and Gol had no idea that that was about to happen. I was in Isle, you know, destroying some of his troops. I was on the Earth, you know, attacking a fire base, you know, a ship, and Gol didn't have any presence at all whatsoever. In fact, Gol was trying to flirt with the speaker throughout the entire story. I just did not like that. Honestly, that's honestly my biggest turnoff with Destiny 2 story, the fact that Gol wasn't as intimidating as they made him out to be. But then again, it's a typical Bungie move. You know, they make big expansions look like it's gonna last for years, and I guess they make bad guys also, you know, look like it's gonna last for years. But that's basically everything that I disliked about Destiny 2 story. I do have more stuff that I disliked about the game. Let's talk about Eververse. You know, I feel like the rate in which you get exotic stuff in Eververse is just like pretty low. I've been playing the game for like almost 2 months now, and I only have 2 exotic emotes. Some of you guys might only have 1 exotic emote, but yeah, I don't have an exotic ship, I don't have an exotic sparrow. No, I didn't buy an exotic sparrow and an exotic ship with bright dust. I feel like the Eververse store, it's a ripoff, okay? In Overwatch, if I pay $10, I get 11 loot boxes, but in Destiny 2, if I pay $10, I get like, what, 3 or 4 bright engrams? The Eververse store is, of course, a ripoff, and it's definitely not pay to win. Some people were saying, oh, Destiny 2 might be pay to win because of mods that you get in the Eververse store. At the end of the day, those were, of course, crybabies that just like to make drama out of literally everything. Of course, the internet is filled with those people, so I guess we were just gonna have to deal with it. But at the end of the day, Eververse is not really a huge problem for me. I also don't really have any problems with the shader. I like the fact that shaders are single use because it motivates me to, of course, do the raid over and over and over again. So of course I can apply the shaders to my thingies. On top of all that, there is a new shader that you can, of course, buy every single week on the Eververse store. And Bright Dust doesn't really have a lot of uses unless, of course, you want to save it for an exotic ship or an exotic emote. But yeah, quite honestly, the only thing that I don't like about the Eververse store is the fact that if you want to buy bright engrams, it's basically just a huge ripoff. Like, you're better off buying loot boxes in Overwatch. The thing that I like about Overwatch is if I buy 50 loot boxes, I know at least I'm going to get 4 legendaries or maybe even 7 legendaries. I mean, before, within 25 boxes in Overwatch, in my Overwatch loot box openings, I've gotten up to 8 legendaries in 25 boxes, okay? That's the thing about Overwatch as well. You know, their loot box system isn't a ripoff like, of course, the bright engrams in Destiny 2. I want to talk about 2 more things. Well, 3 more things. The end game and all that stuff. But let's talk about adventures and lost sectors. So, lost sectors, you know, Bungie said that we're going to be like sort of like mini strikes that you are able to do, you know, within a pretty decent amount of time. I was expecting, you know, maybe 6 to 10 minutes. Yeah, lost sectors, I can basically do them in like 30 seconds. I don't really like lost sectors, and adventures, I don't really like them either. I only did a couple on Earth and a couple on Titan, and basically I just stopped doing the adventures because I was like, wait, why should I do these adventures again? For the lore, I can just watch the lore stuff on YouTube. Now, of course, you know, it kind of makes sense that, you know, you don't really want to watch it on YouTube. You just want to experience it in the adventure. The point that I'm trying to say is that I thought after I would beat Destiny 2 that I was going to get end-game type adventures that were very challenging and had, you know, like a nice narrative to them. But at the end of the day, adventures are just side quests that are basically going to be helping you level up throughout the game and are just going to help you understand sort of like the lore of a couple of things in Destiny 2. I like that lore aspect, but I would have been more happy if they would have put in the time that they put into adventures to basically put the Grimoire in the game. I feel like that would have been a 10 times better move, because honestly adventures are kind of useless right now, and I feel like a lot of you guys are going to agree with me on that. One of the biggest problems with Destiny 2 is the fact that there is a ton of content. We have adventures, we have lost sectors, we have what's this thing called, the faction rally and all that stuff, right? But the point is that there really isn't any reason for us to play these things. There isn't any reason for us to, you know, what's this thing called, grind for tokens. There isn't any reason for us to, I mean, unless we want the weapons, there isn't any reasons for us to do the adventures or the lost sectors. That's something that someone said on Reddit, by the way, and of course I definitely 100% agree with him. Adventures on lost sectors are basically useless, okay? And I want Bungie to give us reasons to do these adventures, maybe increase the rewards, something like that. Now I want to talk about Destiny 2's endgame. In my opinion, the endgame is a little bit underwhelming right now at the moment. I like the milestones, you know, there's still a lot of stuff that I of course can do. All of my characters are of course at 305, but quite honestly I feel like, you know, there's a couple of things that I of course want to do, like, you know, having 305 maxed out when it comes down to my main inventory and all that stuff. But quite honestly, I think one of the biggest problem with the end game right now is that there isn't a lot of stuff to do for after you reach level 305, and I think that's what Bungie needs to focus on in the future. Instead of focusing on content to raise our light level, I want them to focus on content that is going to be very, very you know, sort of like in depth after we reach the max light level. Like, there should be content that we need to do after we reach 305 and 305 only. Anyways, that's basically all I have to say about the end game, because I don't want to, you know, drop a freaking huge rant on the end game and my thoughts on it and all that stuff. But again, I just think the end game needs to be more meaningful. Maybe you know, adventures, you know, increase rewards for adventures, all that stuff. Anyways, last but not least, like I said at the beginning of the video, I believe Destiny 2 took 5 steps forward and 3 steps back, and that's honestly the biggest thing that I dislike about this game. You know, Destiny 1 had strike scoring, it had SRL, it had a bunch of features, okay, that are not available in Destiny 2, and I really do hope that in the future we do get those features back. Scores, you know, things like strike scoring, things like SRL, you know, I feel like that should have just come with the game. But anyways, guys, that is my Destiny 2 review. Very in-depth. I wanted to literally almost mention every single thing that I like and dislike about the game. If I missed a couple of things, I'm going to leave it down in the description below. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my Destiny 2 review. And, you know, should you buy Destiny 2 or should you not buy Destiny 2? That option is just completely up to you. I also forgot to mention, one of the things that I like about Destiny 2 as well is that it's very, very friendly for the casual player and for the medium to hardcore player. I just want to say one last thing. A lot of people think Destiny 2 isn't a place for elitists, but if you're an elitist, Destiny 2 is also a very good game for you. Prestige Nightfall, Flawless Trials run, Prestige Aura for the Prestige Raid, exclusive raid gear for the Prestige Raid as well. There are a lot of things that you can actually strive for if you are an elitist type player. Like, for example, nothing sucks more than me looking at other people's Flawless Trials Flawless Trials emblem, because I know I'm never going to go flawless in Destiny 2. Or, you know, looking at people's Prestige raid emblem or Prestige gear because I haven't completed the Prestige raid yet, okay? Elitism is definitely in Destiny 2, and I feel like some of these Destiny 2 hardcore players really need to chill out on a couple of demands. You know, Destiny 2 is sort of like an organism, and an organism needs the casual, the medium to hardcore players, and the hardcore players. It's not all about the hardcore players, and that is what I wanted to tackle with this Destiny 2 review. I wanted to keep all types of players in mind. I hope you guys enjoyed my review, and of course feel free to drop a comment below on your thoughts about Destiny 2 and all that good stuff. And by the way, if you're one of those dumbasses that write something negative about Destiny 2, listen buddy, all of the comments are going to be held for review, guys. So if you write something that's kind of dickish, if you write a smart ass type comment, it's just going to get deleted and no one is going to see it. So I'm just letting you guys know. See you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.